This audiobook reveals the secret of 33rd degree knowledge, ancient wisdom that unlocks manifestation through the language of vibration. As you listen, you'll awaken ancient wisdom within you, remembering truths your soul has always known. The doorway is open. 33rd degree knowledge. Introduction. In the silent hours when night's veil thins and shadows soften, ancient wisdom calls not to your mind but to your soul's deepest remembering. This is no ordinary book. It is a vessel carrying vibrations that have journeyed through countless generations of mystics and sages, encoded with the sacred frequency of the 33rd degree. The truths within these pages are older than time itself, speaking directly to the part of you that existed before stars took their place in the sky. Here, in this space between thought and dream, the barriers fall away, and the pure resonance of creation begins to stir within you. You are not here to study, analyze, or strive. You are here to remember, to let each syllable wash over you like moonlit waves, awakening what has always been waiting in the quiet depths of your being. As the world sleeps, you are invited through this ancient threshold, a portal back to your divine essence. No effort is required, only your presence. This is a transmission from the eternal, a reminder of who you have always been. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1, The Echo Before Sleep. Chapter 1, The Bell That Only You Can Hear. In a village perched between mist and mountains stood an ancient bell tower where Eugene, the town's clockmaker, spent his evenings. While others passed the tower without pause, Eugene would stop, tilt his head, and listen intently. A sound, unlike any earthly chime, called to him from within the weathered stones. "Do you hear it?" he would ask passers-by, but they only shook their heads and hurried along. Night after night, Eugene climbed the tower's spiral steps, drawn by this mysterious resonance that seemed to echo from another realm. The sound grew clearer with each visit, not in his ears but in his heart, until one evening he discovered its source, not in the tower's bells, but in the quiet spaces between their rings. The tower had been teaching him to listen not with his ears, but with his soul. Within you dwells a similar call, a sacred frequency that vibrates with the essence of your deepest desires. Like Eugene, you may have glimpsed it in moments of stillness, felt its pull in the spaces between thoughts. This is the language of attraction, speaking not through words but through resonance. The universe communicates through subtle vibrations, through whispers rather than shouts. Your desires are not mere wishes. They are living frequencies seeking to align with their manifestation. In the silence between your thoughts and the pause between your breaths, these divine signals await your recognition. In a distant valley lived Clara, a young woman who discovered an ancient tuning fork in her grandmother's attic. Unlike ordinary tuning forks, this one seemed to vibrate in harmony with her emotions. When her heart filled with joy, it sang with crystalline clarity. When doubt clouded her mind, it fell silent. Through this mysterious instrument, Clara learned that her inner state created a tangible frequency. She began to notice how her thoughts and feelings affected not just the tuning fork, but the very fabric of her reality. The world around her seemed to dance to the rhythm of her inner harmony. Just as Clara's tuning fork responded to her emotional frequency, the universe attunes itself to your inner vibration. Your thoughts and feelings are not confined within you. They ripple outward, creating patterns in the cosmic fabric that draw matching experiences into your life. Now settle into a space of sacred silence. Close your eyes and imagine a golden bell suspended within your chest. With each breath, let it toll softly, its resonance spreading through your being. Feel how its vibration aligns with your deepest wishes, your truest desires. Let this inner chime become your guide, showing you the way to perfect alignment with all you seek to manifest. This practice, passed down through ages of spiritual initiates, attunes you to the subtle language of the universe. In this silence, you learn to recognize and trust the quiet call of your own becoming. Chapter 2. The Invisible Veil Between Worlds. The veil between worlds is thinner than you imagine. Walter, a humble farmer, discovered this truth one autumn evening as golden light spilled through his barn's weathered walls. There, suspended in the dying day's glow, hung a gossamer curtain of light, visible only in that sacred moment when day surrenders to night. At first, Walter dismissed it as dust catching the sunset, yet each twilight, the shimmering veil reappeared, dancing with an otherworldly presence. When he reached out to touch it, his fingers tingled with an ancient knowing, as though touching the very boundary between reality and dreams. This ethereal division mirrors the veil that separates your conscious and subconscious mind. During waking hours, this veil appears solid and impenetrable. But as day fades to night, as your analytical mind grows quiet, this barrier becomes as thin as morning mist. The law of attraction operates most potently in this twilight realm, the space between sleeping and waking. Here, where your conscious resistance dissolves, your true power emerges. Your thoughts, unbound by daily doubts, flow freely into the universal field of creation. This is why ancient wisdom keepers taught their most sacred truths at dusk, when the mind naturally opens to higher understanding. In a distant city lived Irene, whose childhood home held a magnificent oak tree. Whenever she returned home and napped beneath its ancient branches, visions of her future would unfold like leaves opening to the sun. These glimpses came not as clear pictures but as feelings, sensations, and knowings that settled deep in her soul. Through these twilight visions, Irene learned to trust the wisdom that emerged when her conscious mind grew still. The tree became her gateway to understanding, its roots reaching deep into the soil of universal truth, its branches extending into the realm of infinite possibility. Your own gateway to manifestation lies in this sacred threshold between worlds. As sleep approaches, your analytical mind releases its grip, allowing your deeper wisdom to surface. This is why inspiration often strikes as you drift off, why solutions appear in morning's first light. The veil thins, and truth flows freely. Now rest in a comfortable position and close your eyes. Imagine before you a translucent veil, shimmering with starlight. Feel its gentle movement in an unseen breeze. As your breath deepens, step softly through this gossamer boundary. Feel it brush against your skin like silk, tingling with possibility. Beyond lies a vast field of stars, each one a seed of potential waiting to bloom in your life. Float here, suspended between worlds, knowing that in this space, your thoughts shape reality with the ease of shaping dreams. Chapter 3, The Art of Sinking, Not Climbing. At the bottom of Lake Azure, Edwin pressed deeper into the murky depths, tales of sunken treasures had drawn him to these waters, yet with each descent he only found darkness and cold. Day after day he dove deeper, convinced the prize must lie in the lake's furthest reaches. His muscles ached, his lungs burned, but still he pushed on, believing that more effort would yield the riches he sought. What Edwin failed to understand was that the very force he fought against, the water's natural buoyancy, held the key to his success. When exhaustion finally forced him to release his struggle, he floated upward, and there, in the sun-dappled shallows, glinted the golden coins he sought. The universe operates through this same principle of effortless allowing. You need not strain against the current of life to manifest your desires. Like a leaf carried by a stream, your natural state is one of flow and ease. The law of attraction responds not to force but to surrender. When you release your grip on how things must unfold, you allow the infinite wisdom of the universe to guide you toward your highest good. This is not passive resignation, but active trust, a knowing that what you seek is already seeking you. Margaret, who lived in a small cottage at the edge of a meadow, understood this truth without knowing she understood it. Each spring, she would scatter seeds across her garden, then become so absorbed in other pursuits that she forgot about them entirely. While others fretted over their gardens, measuring growth daily, Margaret simply lived her life. When summer arrived, her garden burst forth with such abundance that neighbors called it miraculous. Flowers bloomed in unexpected patterns, vegetables grew in surprising abundance, and herbs spread their fragrance far beyond their beds. Her secret: she planted her seeds in faith, then released them to nature's wisdom. Your desires are like Margaret's seeds. Plant them in the fertile soil of your consciousness, then release your vigilance. The universe knows how to grow a flower. It requires no supervision from the flower itself. So too does the universe know how to manifest your dreams, needing no micromanagement from your conscious mind. Now lie back and allow your body to settle into your bed. With each breath, feel yourself becoming heavier, as if sinking into warm, welcoming waters. Let your muscles soften, your thoughts quiet. Imagine yourself drifting downward, supported completely by the gentle pressure around you. With every exhale, surrender a little more to this descent. Feel the water holding you, cradling you in perfect suspension. Here, in this space of complete letting go, you're most powerfully aligned with the universe's flow. Rest here, knowing that all you desire is already in motion, drawn to you by the magnetic force of your relaxed allowing. Chapter 4. The breath of the divine moves slowly. In the valley of endless winds stood Henry, a master of harnessing nature's breath through his windmills. For years he had built them taller and stronger, believing that catching the fiercest gusts would yield the greatest power. Yet time and again he watched his mighty structures crack and splinter under the force of violent winds. One tranquil dawn, as he sat among the ruins of his latest creation, he noticed something peculiar. A small, weathered windmill, forgotten in the corner of his field, turned steadily in the gentle morning breeze. Its worn wooden blades gathered more energy in their slow, steady rotation than his grand designs had ever produced in their brief moments of glory. This truth extends beyond windmills to the very essence of creation itself. The universe does not rush. Stars form over millions of years. Mountains rise through ages of patient pressure, and flowers unfold their petals, one moment at a time. Your breath, as you drift toward sleep, mirrors this cosmic tempo. When you align with this unhurried rhythm, you tap into the true power of manifestation. Fast breathing creates resistance, while slow, measured breaths open channels for universal energy to flow. Your nighttime breath in particular carries special significance. It is the bridge between conscious desire and subconscious creation. In a distant city lived Dolores, who dreamed of becoming a dancer. She attended classes where music filled the air and students moved with precise counts. Yet she remained stiff, her movements mechanical. One evening, after all others had left, she stayed in the studio as silence fell. In that quiet space, she began to move, not to music, but to the rhythm of her own breath. In the absence of external tempo, she discovered a flow that had eluded her before. Her movements became liquid, natural, an expression of something deeper than choreography. She learned that true grace emerges not from following a beat, but from flowing with the silent pulse of life itself. As you lie in your bed tonight, allow your breath to become your teacher. Inhale slowly to a count of 4, feeling the air fill your lungs. Then exhale even more slowly to a count of 8, releasing all tension. Continue this pattern. 4 counts in, 8 counts out, until you feel your body beginning to rock with a gentle, invisible tide. This is not merely a breathing exercise, but an alignment with the universe's own rhythm. With each cycle, you sink deeper into harmony with the natural world's unhurried pace. Feel how your body becomes lighter, as if floating on waves of cosmic energy. This is the space where manifestation occurs, not in the striving, but in the flowing. Chapter 5, The Gentle Pull of Non-Thought. In a sunlit studio, Howard stood before his canvas, paintbrush suspended in air. For weeks he had meticulously planned his masterpiece, sketching studies and mixing precise colors. Yet on this morning, as he raised his brush to begin, his mind went curiously blank. The carefully constructed image he had held simply dissolved, like morning mist in sunlight. Instead of fighting this emptiness, Howard surrendered to it. His hand moved as if guided by an unseen force, laying colors upon the canvas without thought or plan. Hours passed like minutes as he worked in this state of pure allowing. When evening came, he stepped back and beheld a painting more beautiful than anything he had ever consciously conceived. A work that seemed to breathe with life itself. This is how the universe creates through you. Your logical mind, with its plans and strategies, often stands between you and the pure flow of divine inspiration. The law of attraction responds not to your thoughts, but to your vibration. When your mind grows quiet, you become a clear channel through which universal wisdom can flow. Your greatest manifestations arrive not through forcing or planning, but through allowing. Like a radio receiving distant signals, you must tune to the frequency of pure potential, the space where all possibilities exist before thought gives them form. In a bustling town lived Eliza, whose life revolved around her meticulously kept to-do lists. One morning, she awoke to find her cherished notebook missing. Panic rose as she realized she couldn't remember a single task she had written down. With no choice but to move through her day without guidance, she discovered something remarkable. Everything that truly mattered naturally fell into place, while what was unnecessary simply fell away. The universe had orchestrated her day more perfectly than any list could have planned. Through forgetting, she had stumbled upon the secret of effortless creation. When you release your grip on how things should unfold, you allow them to unfold as they must. This ancient truth whispers to you now. Your power lies not in controlling, but in allowing. The law of attraction works most purely through a mind at rest, a heart at peace, a soul in trust. As you prepare for sleep, practice this timeless ritual of surrender. Lie quietly and silently repeat the words, "Let it come." Allow thoughts to drift past like clouds in a vast sky, neither grasping nor resisting them. Feel yourself becoming a vessel through which the universe can pour its infinite possibilities. This is the gateway to true creation, not through doing, but through being. Not through thinking, but through allowing. Chapter 6. You are the stillness behind the noise. Franklin lived beside the busiest railway junction in the city, where trains thundered past day and night. Yet he slept peacefully, worked contentedly, and lived in perfect harmony with the constant rumble and screech of steel wheels on rails. Visitors would marvel at his serenity, asking how he managed to ignore such overwhelming noise. "I don't ignore it," Franklin would say with a gentle smile. "I simply remembered who I was before the trains came." This wisdom points to an essential truth. Your true nature exists independent of your circumstances. The law of attraction responds not to the surface conditions of your life, but to the unchanging essence that dwells beneath them. Like a deep ocean undisturbed by storms above, your core being remains perpetually serene. When you align with this truth, external chaos loses its power to disturb your inner harmony. Your circumstances may shift like weather, but they cannot touch the eternal sky of your consciousness. This is why masters of manifestation maintain their creative power even in turbulent times. They operate from their depths, not their surface. The noise in your life is not an obstacle to overcome, but a reminder to sink deeper into your true nature. Every challenge invites you to rediscover the unchanging center of your being. From this space of pure awareness, you naturally attract experiences that match your essential frequency. In a bustling city park, Mabel, who had taught elementary school for 40 years, found her deepest meditation. While others sought quiet corners, she chose a bench near the playground, where children laughed and shouted, where dogs barked and parents called out. "This noise," she would say, "reminds me that peace isn't something you find, it's what remains when you stop looking." Day after day, Mabel sat in perfect tranquility amidst the symphony of life. Those who noticed her often stopped, drawn by the palpable field of calm that surrounded her. They discovered that in her presence, the park's chaos transformed into a kind of music, not because anything had changed, but because she helped them remember their own unchanging nature. Your ability to manifest flows from this same wellspring of being. The law of attraction responds not to what happens around you, but to what remains constant within you. Like Franklin with his trains and Mabel in her park, you can access this space of pure potential regardless of external conditions. Take your journal now and write this question at the top of a blank page. What part of me has never changed? Let your pen move without thought or judgment for several minutes. Then close your eyes and sit in complete stillness for 3 minutes, allowing yourself to rest in the answer that emerges not from your mind, but from your depths. Chapter 7. The Sleep That Woke the Ancients. In the dimness of the grand library after closing hours, Thomas moved methodically between the towering shelves, dustcloth in hand. Night after night he cleaned the same ancient wooden chair, tucked away in the philosophy section. Something about its worn leather and brass studs called to him, though he couldn't explain why. One evening, exhausted from his labors, Thomas sat in the chair to rest his eyes. As sleep overtook him, a golden light emerged from beneath the chair's cushion. Upon waking, he discovered an illuminated scroll that hadn't been there before, its text visible only in the moments between sleeping and waking. The scroll spoke of sleep as humanity's first temple, a sacred space where the veils between worlds grow thin. Since the dawn of civilization, mystics and sages entered this twilight realm to receive divine guidance. Your nightly descent into sleep is not mere biological necessity. It is a spiritual ritual older than recorded history. In this ethereal space between consciousness and dreams, the universe speaks most clearly. Each dream carries a message, a reflection of your soul's deepest knowing. The law of attraction works through this ancient channel, transforming your sleep state impressions into waking reality. Just as Thomas discovered wisdom in his moments of surrender, you too access higher knowledge each night. Your dreams are not random firings of neurons, but carefully crafted communications from your higher self. In sleep, resistance falls away, allowing truth to flow unimpeded. Esther learned this through her own remarkable experience. Every night for a month, she dreamed of an old oak tree on a distant hillside. The dreams felt more like memories, calling her toward something forgotten. Following her dream's guidance, she traveled to her grandmother's homeland, where she found not only the exact tree from her visions, but also documents revealing her family's forgotten spiritual legacy. Through Esther's dreams, the wisdom of generations flowed into the present moment. Her story mirrors an eternal truth. Sleep connects you to the accumulated knowledge of all who came before. In this sacred space, time dissolves, allowing ancient wisdom to guide modern footsteps. To access this timeless dimension of guidance, practice this ritual as you prepare for sleep. Lie comfortably in your bed and whisper aloud the question or intention you wish to explore. Place your right hand over your heart, feeling its steady rhythm. As your consciousness begins to drift, imagine your intention sinking deeper into your being, carried on the waves of your breath. Let sleep come naturally, knowing that in this sacred space between worlds, the universe shapes your dreams into messages meant only for you. Chapter 8, Sacred Forgetting. In a weathered vessel far from any shore, Leo stood at the helm, his calloused hands gripping the wheel. For 40 years he had followed maps and charts in search of a legendary treasure. Now, in the most crucial moment of his quest, he discovered his precious map had dissolved in the sea spray. As panic threatened to overwhelm him, a strange peace washed over his spirit. Without the distraction of marked routes and measured distances, Leo began to notice subtle signs he had overlooked before. The way certain birds flew, how the waves shaped themselves, the whispers of the wind. Following these natural guides, he sailed directly to the treasure that had eluded him for decades. The universe speaks in the language of intuition, not instruction. When you release your grip on how things should unfold, you create space for divine guidance to flow through you. Your analytical mind, with its carefully drawn maps and plans, often drowns out the quiet voice of inner knowing. The law of attraction operates most powerfully in the absence of attachment. Your desires plant seeds in the cosmic field, but your constant checking and worrying over them prevents their natural growth. Like a flower that cannot bloom while you pull at its stem, your manifestations require space to unfold. You carry within you an internal compass that always points toward your highest good. This knowing exists beneath thought, beyond planning, and outside the realm of conscious control. It is only when the maps dissolve that you discover your innate ability to navigate by starlight. Agnes, a writer who filled countless journals with her deepest questions, discovered this truth when her cherished diary vanished during a move. For days she felt lost without the familiar comfort of recording her thoughts. But in the silence that followed, she found that all her questions carried their own answers. The empty space where her diary had been filled with a wisdom that needed no words. Through Agnes's story, you glimpse an eternal truth. What appears as loss often creates an opening for greater alignment. The universe can only fill vessels that have been emptied. Your release becomes an invitation for divine intervention. To embrace this principle of sacred surrender, perform this ancient ritual of release. On a single piece of paper, write down something you deeply desire. Feel the fullness of your longing as you form each word. Then, with reverence and trust, either burn the paper safely or tear it into tiny pieces. As you watch your written desire dissolve, say silently, "I release this to the wisdom of the universe, knowing that what is meant for me cannot miss me." Let the act of releasing become your prayer of faith. This ritual teaches your spirit that letting go is not abandonment but advancement, a holy surrender that allows the universe to work unhindered on your behalf. Chapter 9, The Flame Beneath the Fog. Atop a craggy cliff where waves crashed endlessly against ancient stone, Judith tended her lighthouse with unwavering devotion. Night after night she climbed the spiral stairs to light the great beacon, though thick fog often obscured the shoreline from view. She could not see the ships she guided, nor did she witness their safe passage. Yet she knew, with a certainty that transcended sight, that her light made the difference between peril and safety. The law of attraction operates with this same principle of unseen influence. You need not witness every step of manifestation to know your energy shapes reality. Like Judith's lighthouse beam cutting through darkness, your consistent faith illuminates the path for miracles to find their way to you. When you align with universal flow, clarity of outcome becomes less important than clarity of intention. The universe responds not to your ability to see the future, but to your willingness to trust its unfolding. Your task is simply to keep your inner light burning bright regardless of whether you can see its effects. In the realm of manifestation, faith is the currency that moves mountains. Not blind faith, but the deep knowing that comes from understanding your connection to Source. When you maintain this connection, even in moments of uncertainty, you activate forces beyond your physical sight. In a small village nestled among rolling hills, Albert sat at his piano each evening, fingers dancing across keys he could not see. Blind from birth, he navigated the world through sound and touch, creating music of such beauty that people said it must come from heaven itself. He never saw his audience, yet he felt their presence, their joy, their transformation through his gift. Albert's story mirrors your own journey with the law of attraction. You need not see every detail of how your desires will manifest. Your role is to maintain the frequency of trust, to play the notes of faith with consistency, knowing that the universe orchestrates the full symphony of your manifestation. The ancient practice of flame gazing connects you to this timeless wisdom. As you prepare for sleep, light a single candle in darkness. Gaze softly at its unwavering flame while whispering the words, "Even when I can't see, I know." Let the steady light remind you that certainty comes not from external proof, but from internal alignment with the eternal flame of truth within. Chapter 10. Time bends when you close your eyes. In a small cottage at the edge of a misty valley, Bessie lived with her husband, the town's clockmaker. Each night, as the grandfather clocks in their home struck midnight, she would awaken, not with a start, but with a gentle rising to consciousness as though lifted by an invisible tide. In these moments, images would flow through her mind, crystal clear pictures of events yet to unfold. She learned to trust these visions, understanding that they arrived not by chance but through a sacred alignment with universal timing. Time, as you know it in waking life, exists differently in the realm between sleep and consciousness. In this space, the rigid boundaries of minutes and hours dissolve, revealing the fluid nature of existence. Your soul operates beyond these human constructs, dancing in rhythm with the infinite now, where all possibilities converge. The universe does not measure manifestation by your calendars or clocks. It responds to the vibration of alignment, which can collapse years into moments when you release your grip on linear time. Your desires materialize, not according to schedules, but through the perfect orchestration of energy and circumstance. In a distant town, Gerald once lived his life bound by appointments and deadlines. His pocket watch never left his side, and his days were measured in careful increments. But when his watch stopped one evening, he chose not to replace it. Gradually, he noticed something extraordinary. The less he tracked time, the more swiftly his dreams took form in reality. Business opportunities appeared as if by magic. Relationships blossomed without effort, and abundance flowed with unexpected ease. This truth lies at the heart of manifestation. When you release your attachment to when things must happen, you open the door for them to happen now. The universe operates in the eternal present, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Your role is not to push against time, but to align with its natural flow. In the space between sleep and wakefulness, you stand at the threshold of timelessness. Here, the seeds of manifestation find fertile ground, unencumbered by the weight of schedules and deadlines. Your consciousness expands beyond the limitations of hours and minutes, touching the infinite where all dreams already exist as reality. As you prepare for sleep tonight, speak these words into the darkness. There is no time where I'm going. Let this ancient phrase dissolve the barriers between now and then, between desire and fulfillment. In releasing time, you release resistance, allowing your manifestations to flow to you through the path of least resistance. Chapter 11. Whispers are louder than shouts. In the quietest hours before dawn, Stanley sat in his garden, surrounded by sleeping flowers. After 30 years of sorting through endless letters and parcels at the post office, he had grown accustomed to constant noise. Yet, in retirement, he discovered something extraordinary. In absolute stillness, a voice, softer than whispered breath, began speaking to his soul. At first, he dismissed it as imagination, but as he learned to embrace the silence, the guidance grew clearer. The voice led him to unexpected opportunities, meaningful connections, and a depth of understanding he had never known. Through this gentle communion, Stanley realized that the universe's most precious messages arrive not in thunderous declarations, but in the space between thoughts. You too hold this capacity to hear the sacred whispers of the universe. When the mind grows still, when the endless chatter of daily life subsides, a deeper wisdom emerges. This is not the voice of thought or reason, but the pure knowing that flows from Source itself. In these moments of perfect quiet, you access the frequency where all answers reside. The law of attraction operates most powerfully in stillness. Like a pristine lake that perfectly reflects the sky above, a quiet mind mirrors the intelligence of the universe. Your role is not to strain or struggle to hear, but to create the conditions where divine guidance can naturally arise. Beatrice, who lived in a bustling city, accidentally misplaced her hearing aid one evening. Initially frustrated by the muffled world around her, she discovered something remarkable in the cocoon of relative silence. Without the constant stream of external noise, she began sensing an inner guidance that had always been present, but overlooked. This gentle knowing led her to make decisions that transformed her life in ways her logical mind could never have planned. Your inner wisdom speaks with similar subtlety. It doesn't compete with the clamor of daily life or demand attention through force. Instead, it waits patiently in the depths of silence, ready to guide you when you create space to listen. The universe's messages often come as gentle nudges, soft impressions, or quiet certainties that arise when you still your thoughts. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, lie still in the darkness of your room. Let your breath become soft and regular. When your mind has settled into calm, ask simply, "What does silence want to tell me tonight?" Then listen, not with your ears, but with your entire being. Allow whatever comes or doesn't come without judgment or expectation. The wisdom you seek may arrive as words, feelings, or simply a knowing that transcends language. Chapter 12, You're Already Floating. At the edge of a misty harbor, Otis prepared his boat for the morning catch. For 30 years he had followed the same ritual, checking his nets, securing his anchor, studying weather patterns. Yet on this particular dawn, something changed. As he lifted his heavy iron anchor, the chain snapped, sending it plunging into the depths below. Panic gripped him initially. Without an anchor, how would he hold his position? But as he drifted with the current, Otis noticed something remarkable. His boat moved with an effortless grace, finding spots teeming with fish that he had never discovered before. In surrendering to the ocean's flow, he found abundance beyond measure. This truth extends beyond the realm of fishing. It speaks to the very nature of manifestation. You have been taught to anchor yourself, to grip tightly to plans and expectations. Yet these very anchors often keep you fixed in places where your desires cannot reach you. The universe moves in currents of infinite possibility. When you release your need to control its flow, you enter a state of divine alignment. Your resistance, your fears, doubts, and desperate holds on specific outcomes acts as an anchor, keeping you stuck in familiar waters while abundance flows freely elsewhere. Think of how water moves. It never pushes against obstacles but flows around them effortlessly. It doesn't struggle or strain. It simply finds the path of least resistance. This is the way of universal law. When you release your anchors of control, you allow yourself to be carried by currents far wiser than your limited perspective can comprehend. Dorothy, a woman who had spent years seeking closure in an unresolved relationship, discovered this truth unexpectedly. One morning, she simply stopped needing answers. In releasing her anchor to the past, she found herself carried into a peace she had never known. The very act of letting go opened channels that struggling had kept closed. You see, the law of attraction responds not to your grip, but to your release. It works most powerfully when you trust enough to let go of the how, when, and where of your manifestations. Like a boat without an anchor, you become free to be guided to your highest good. Tonight, lie back and allow your body to settle into your bed. Imagine yourself floating on perfectly calm waters. Feel how the water supports you completely. You don't need to swim or struggle. Simply breathe slowly and deeply, sensing how the universe holds you just as naturally as water holds a floating leaf. Let each exhale release another anchor of control, another need to direct your path. Float in perfect trust, knowing that the current of life carries you exactly where you need to be. Part 2, Descent into the Deep Mind. On Chapter 13, The Room Behind Your Eyes. In a quiet town nestled among rolling hills, an architect named Calvin spent his nights sketching designs that came to him in dreams. Each evening, as sleep approached, he witnessed the same ethereal space, a room unlike any he had seen before. Its walls seemed to breathe with living light, its dimensions defied conventional geometry, and its atmosphere held a sacred stillness that called to his soul. Night after night, the room revealed itself in greater detail. The way sunlight danced through windows that changed position with the seasons. How the walls curved to embrace rather than contain. The subtle play of shadows that created spaces within spaces. Calvin began to understand this was not mere imagination, but a blueprint being transmitted from the universal mind. The law of attraction operates through this inner workshop of consciousness. What you perceive in your mind's eye is not fantasy, but the first stage of physical manifestation. Your imagination is the universe's drawing board, where reality takes its initial form before emerging into the material world. Calvin eventually built this room, translating its ethereal qualities into physical form. As he stood within the completed space, he recognized that the room had always existed. He had simply been chosen to bring it forth from the invisible into the visible realm. This truth was also known to Hazel, who lived alone in a small apartment. Each night before sleep, she would close her eyes and walk through her dream home. She knew every detail: the way morning light warmed the kitchen tiles, the sound her footsteps made on the wooden stairs, the view of distant mountains from her bedroom window. She never questioned when or how this home would manifest. She simply continued her nightly visits, feeling the reality of it in her bones. Months passed, and through a series of unexpected events, Hazel found herself standing in that very home. Every detail matched her inner vision, not because of coincidence, but because she had already built it in the workshop of eternity. The physical world you see around you is merely the final stage of creation. Everything must first be built in consciousness. Your inner sight is the architect's table, where all manifestation begins. Sacred practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, create a room within your mind. Let it be a space that feels like home to your soul. Notice its dimensions, its light, its atmosphere. Don't rush to fill it with objects. Allow it to reveal itself to you. Visit this room each night before sleep. It is your workshop of creation, your private audience chamber with the universal mind. This room already exists. You are simply remembering it into being. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14, The Mirror That Never Lies. In a city of endless reflections, a makeup artist named Norma discovered an ancient mirror in the dusty corner of an antique shop. Unlike ordinary mirrors that captured surface appearances, this one revealed the inner light of those who gazed into it. When joy filled someone's heart, their reflection glowed like morning sunlight. When doubt clouded their spirit, shadows appeared around their form. At first, Norma used the mirror to understand her clients better, but soon she realized a deeper truth. The mirror wasn't showing people's emotions. It was revealing the law that governs all creation. Your outer world mirrors your inner state with perfect precision. Just as a lake reflects the sky above, life reflects the feeling tone you hold within. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the vibration you emanate. When you speak of abundance while feeling lack, the mirror of life shows lack. When you affirm success while harboring doubt, doubt materializes in your circumstances. But when you cultivate genuine feelings of wholeness, the world has no choice but to reflect that wholeness back to you. This truth found another witness in Clyde, a shopkeeper who discovered that his store's prosperity rose and fell with his inner smile. He noticed that on days when he felt rich inside, customers appeared as if by magic. When he cultivated peace beneath his thoughts, even difficult situations resolved themselves effortlessly. Clyde stopped trying to change his outer world. Instead, he devoted himself to tending his inner garden. Each morning, he would sit quietly and smile from his heart, knowing that this internal radiance would paint his day in matching colors. His circumstances began shifting without effort, not because he was trying to manipulate reality, but because he had aligned himself with the law of reflection. The mirror of life never lies. It cannot show what isn't present within you. Your job is not to arrange the reflection, but to become what you wish to see. When you shift your inner state, the outer must follow. This is the immutable law of consciousness. Sacred practice. Take a moment now to write down one feeling you want the world to reflect to you tonight. Perhaps it's peace, abundance, or love. Write it with the knowing that your inner state is the template for tomorrow's experiences. Place this note beside your bed and read it before you close your eyes. Let this feeling be the last impression you make upon the mirror of consciousness as you drift into sleep. Chapter 15, The Voice Before Language. In the halls of an ancient university, there lived a linguist named Lois who could speak 7 languages fluently. Her mind was a tapestry of words, woven from the threads of human expression. Then one morning, she woke to find all words had left her. Her voice remained silent, her pen still. Yet in this silence, something extraordinary emerged. Each night, as she drifted between waking and sleeping, symbols began appearing in her consciousness. A spiral meant to wait. A flame urged her forward. A circle brought her to pause and reflect. These weren't pictures she could describe, but pure impressions that bypassed her scholarly mind and spoke directly to her soul. Through these symbols, Lois made decisions with unprecedented clarity. She understood that the universe's first language isn't speech, it's pure knowing. Words are merely shadows of truth, while direct impression is truth itself. The law of attraction operates not through the language of the mind, but through the wordless wisdom of the heart. When you seek guidance, the answer rarely comes as a voice or a thought. It arrives as a feeling, a pull, an inner knowing that defies translation. This is why your greatest insights often come in the space between thoughts, in the quiet moments when your analytical mind surrenders to deeper wisdom. Vernon, a concert pianist, experienced this truth when mysterious notes began appearing in his compositions. He would sit at his piano, hands hovering over the keys, and feel rather than think the next chord. The music that emerged wasn't composed, it was received. He realized that the universe doesn't explain itself. It expresses itself through resonance and rhythm. His most beautiful pieces weren't written, they were allowed. He became not a creator, but a channel, letting divine inspiration flow through his fingers without the interference of thought. The music spoke a language older than words, touching listeners in places that speech could never reach. These stories unveil a fundamental truth. The universe communicates through impression, not explanation. When you learn to receive guidance this way, you align with the natural flow of creation. Your role is not to figure out the path, but to feel it. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and bring to mind a question that seeks guidance. Now, rather than waiting for words or thoughts, place your attention in your body. Notice the subtle sensations: warmth, coolness, expansion, contraction. Your body holds wisdom beyond language. Let the answer emerge as a felt sense, a knowing that precedes words. Trust the first impression that arises, even if your mind cannot name it. Chapter 16. Your doubt is a disguise. In a pristine laboratory filled with gleaming instruments and precise measurements, a scientist named Ida noticed an unusual pattern emerging in her research. Each time she doubted her findings, that very doubt led her to an unexpected breakthrough. What began as skepticism transformed into a compass pointing toward truth. At first, she resisted this pattern, clinging to her training in pure objectivity. But as she watched her doubts unfold time after time into revelations, she understood a deeper principle at work. The universe was using her uncertainty as a gentle nudge toward greater understanding. Your doubts are not obstacles. They are arrows pointing toward buried wisdom within you. When you feel uncertainty rising, it signals that part of you already knows a truth too vast for your current understanding to hold. Like a seed pushing against soil, doubt is often belief stretching toward the light. The law of attraction works not through blind faith, but through alignment with inner truth. Sometimes that alignment requires you to first acknowledge your resistance. Your doubts are not working against you. They are working for you, highlighting areas where deeper wisdom waits to emerge. In a small village garden, Walter tended his plants with meticulous care, pulling every weed he saw. Yet he noticed something strange. Certain weeds he doubted were truly weeds began producing the most extraordinary blooms. And the very plants he questioned turned out to be rare flowers, their beauty revealed only after he stopped fighting their presence. What Walter learned mirrors a universal truth. When you allow yourself to sit with uncertainty rather than immediately trying to eliminate it, hidden possibilities emerge. Those aspects of life you most doubt often contain seeds of your greatest growth. Your relationship with doubt is not about overcoming it, but about listening to what it's trying to tell you. Each uncertainty carries within it a kernel of knowing waiting to be discovered. When you treat your doubts as signposts rather than barriers, they transform from obstacles into opportunities. The law of attraction responds not to what you think you should believe, but to what resonates as true within your deepest self. Sometimes, doubt is simply truth, asking to be recognized in a new way. Sacred practice. Take a single sheet of paper and write down one doubt that has been present in your mind. Beneath it, inscribe these words: What if this is trying to guide me? Let these words rest in your consciousness as you drift towards sleep, allowing your doubt to reveal its hidden message. Chapter 17, You're Dreaming While Awake. In the quiet hours before dawn, Sylvia moved through the grand manor where she worked, dusting shelves and straightening paintings. At first, she dismissed the strange occurrences as mere coincidence. The broken vase she had dreamed of the night before, the unexpected visit from a long-lost friend she had seen in her sleep. But as these instances multiplied, she could no longer ignore the pattern emerging. Each morning's events played out like echoes of her nighttime visions. The universe was showing her a fundamental truth, that the boundary between dreams and waking life is but a gossamer thread, easily crossed by those who pay attention. Your dreams are not separate from your reality, they are its foundation. In the space between sleeping and waking, you touch the raw essence of creation itself. Here, in this twilight realm, your thoughts shape tomorrow as surely as a sculptor shapes clay. The law of attraction does not distinguish between what you imagine in dreams and what you experience while awake. Both states carry equal creative power, for they spring from the same source, your consciousness, which knows no boundaries. Earl, who drove his taxi through city streets each night, began to experience something remarkable. Before his passengers would speak, he found himself already knowing their stories, their destinations, their concerns. What seemed at first like intuition revealed itself as something deeper, a recognition that all moments exist simultaneously in the eternal now. His experience revealed how the perceived separation between different states of consciousness is an illusion, just as Earl's foreknowledge and his passengers' actual conversations were two sides of the same coin. Your dreams and your waking life are twin mirrors reflecting the same creative force. You are not bound by time's linear flow. Each dream is a portal through which you can shape your reality. When you understand this truth, you realize that every moment, whether experienced in dreams or waking life, carries the power to transform your world. The law of attraction operates continuously, whether your eyes are open or closed. Your creative power never ceases. It simply shifts between different modes of expression. In dreams, you touch this truth more directly, free from the limitations of conscious thought. Sacred practice. As you lay your head upon your pillow tonight, repeat these words silently. All of life is my dream. I choose what happens next. Let this truth settle into your being as you drift between worlds, knowing that your creative power flows unbroken through all states of consciousness. Chapter 18, The Key That Can't Be Lost. In a small village nestled among ancient hills, there lived a young woman named Della, daughter of the town's most trusted locksmith. Each night, she dreamed of a golden key that glowed with an inner light. In her dreams, she searched endless corridors, opened countless drawers, and climbed the highest towers seeking this mystical key. Night after night, the key eluded her grasp. She consulted wise women, studied ancient texts, and traveled to distant temples, yet the key remained just beyond her reach. Until one quiet evening, as she sat beside her father's workbench, her hand brushed against something in her pocket. There, where it had always been, rested the very key she had sought. This truth lies at the heart of all manifestation. What you seek has never been separate from you. The creative force that shapes worlds does not reside in sacred texts or secret teachings. It pulses within your very being, as natural as your heartbeat, as close as your breath. The universe has placed within you all that you need to create the life you desire. This power cannot be given or taken away, for it is not a possession, but your very essence. You are not learning to attract. You are remembering that you have always been magnetic to your desires. In the bustling streets of a distant city, a man named Martin spent years seeking wisdom from teachers and gurus. He filled notebooks with their words and practiced their methods faithfully. Yet fulfillment remained elusive until one morning in the silence of dawn, he heard a voice he had long ignored, his own. In that moment, he understood that all external guidance had merely been pointing him back to himself. Your inner wisdom speaks with perfect clarity when you stop drowning it out with the noise of seeking. The law of attraction is not a technique to be mastered, but a truth to be remembered. Like Della's key, it has always been with you, waiting to be recognized. Think of how a flower doesn't strain to attract sunlight. It simply turns toward it naturally. Your alignment with abundance works the same way. You are already equipped with everything needed to create your reality. The power you seek is not hidden in mystery schools or sacred chambers. It rests in your own heart, speaking in the language of your desires. The key to your manifestations is not lost. It was never lost. It beats in your chest, flows through your veins, and whispers in your dreams. You are the key. You are the lock. You are the door that opens to all possibilities. Sacred practice. Before sleep, place your hand over your heart and say, I already have the key. Chapter 19. Desire is Divine GPS. In a small diner on the edge of town, Gloria wiped tables and poured coffee, yet her spirit danced with visions of something more. Each time she closed her eyes, images of paint-filled canvases and sunlit studios flickered through her mind. At first, she pushed these whispers aside, calling them idle daydreams. But the universe speaks in patterns, and soon Gloria noticed signs appearing everywhere. A customer left behind a magazine, open to an article about local artists. A child spilled milk that formed the perfect shape of a paintbrush. Even her tip money began arriving in amounts that matched the cost of art supplies she'd been secretly researching. These are not mere coincidences. When your soul calls you toward your true path, the entire universe conspires to guide you there. What you name as random chance is actually sacred choreography, each moment precisely arranged to lead you home. Your desires are not random wishes or fleeting fancies. They are encoded messages from your higher self, mapping the path to your destined expression. The yearning you feel is the universe's way of speaking directly to your heart, showing you the next step on your journey. In another part of town, Ralph delivered mail along his usual route, finding himself drawn to certain letters. Day after day, peculiar coincidences emerged, addresses that matched numbers from his dreams, names that echoed thoughts he'd had that morning. One afternoon, he discovered an unmarked envelope in his bag. Inside was a photograph of the very scene he'd envisioned during his morning meditation. Ralph began to understand that his inner world was not separate from his outer reality. The letters he carried were more than paper and ink. They were physical manifestations of his own consciousness, reflecting back the truth he held within. Your desires are not burdens to be carried or wishes to be dismissed. They are divine instructions, carefully placed within your heart. Each longing is a compass point, each dream a star to navigate by. The universe speaks through your deepest wants, using them to guide you toward your highest expression. When you honor your desires, you align with the cosmic current that carries all of creation. Your role is not to judge these yearnings or question their validity, but to recognize them as sacred signposts along your path. Ancient practice, and take a quiet moment before sleep. Write down one true desire that lives in your heart. Hold the paper close and whisper these words: I honor you. I'll follow your direction. Let this be your prayer of alignment with the universe's guidance. Chapter 20. Let the symbols speak. In the quiet hours before dawn, Horace sat at his desk arranging letters into intricate patterns. For decades, he had crafted crossword puzzles that challenged minds and delighted solvers. Yet something extraordinary began to unfold in his life. The answers to his most complex puzzles started appearing in his dreams. Each night, as his consciousness drifted into sleep, the empty squares would fill themselves. Numbers transformed into messages, and clues revealed deeper meanings than he had intended. The universe was using his own craft to speak to him. This revelation opens a fundamental truth. The language of spirit flows through every aspect of your life. Your dreams, the signs you encounter, and the patterns you notice are not random. They form an ancient alphabet of divine communication. When you learn to read these sacred symbols, you discover that every moment carries a message. The universe speaks not in words alone, but through a tapestry of meaningful coincidences and recurring themes. Consider Myrtle, who lived in a small cottage near the woods. She had been questioning her path when cardinals began appearing at her window. At first, one would come each morning as she sipped her tea. Then two would arrive as she contemplated important decisions. Soon, entire flocks gathered whenever she voiced her prayers aloud. Myrtle came to understand that these weren't merely birds. They were answers taking wing, divine responses clothed in feathers and flight. Each appearance carried specific meaning, timing that aligned perfectly with her questions. The universe constantly communicates through such living metaphors. A butterfly might appear when transformation is needed. A circular pattern might emerge when completion approaches. These symbols speak directly to your soul, bypassing the logical mind to deliver truth in its purest form. To develop your symbolic literacy, begin paying attention to recurring patterns in your life. Notice which animals cross your path, which numbers repeatedly appear, which shapes or colors seem to follow you. These are not meaningless coincidences, but carefully chosen symbols in your personal dialogue with the divine. Your dreams are especially potent channels for this sacred communication. In the space between sleeping and waking, your soul speaks most clearly through the language of symbols. Each dream image carries a message. Each scene holds wisdom, waiting to be understood. Ancient practice, as you prepare for sleep tonight, speak this request to the universe: show me a symbol that carries meaning for my path. Keep paper and pen beside your bed. Upon waking, record whatever image, object, or scene stood out in your dreams. Trust that what appears carries precisely the message you need. Chapter 21. Every shadow knows your name. In a small attic workshop filled with threads and patterns, Lucille spent her days crafting garments that adorned others, while her nights were haunted by a presence that seemed to emerge from the darkest corners of her dreams. The figure, tall and undefined, would approach without sound, causing her heart to race, until the moment it spoke with her father's gentle timbre. "You've grown so strong." Through this ethereal encounter, a profound truth emerges. What appears as darkness often carries the light of recognition within. Your fears, those shadowy aspects you push away, are not enemies, but fragments of your own power awaiting reconciliation. The law of attraction responds not just to what you embrace, but to what you resist. Each fear that surfaces represents a doorway to greater alignment, a piece of yourself asking to be acknowledged and integrated back into the whole. Like threads in a tapestry, every aspect of your being, both light and shadow, belongs in the pattern of your becoming. When you turn away from what frightens you, you also turn away from the gifts hidden within the very darkness. Harvey's tale mirrors this wisdom. For years, he avoided his reflection, hurrying past windows and covering mirrors, believing he would find only judgment in their depths. Yet one evening, as moonlight filled his room, he found himself drawn to the mirror he had shrouded. As he slowly pulled away the cloth and forced himself to look, something extraordinary happened. Light seemed to emanate from the very reflection he had feared. In that moment of courage, Harvey discovered that facing what we avoid becomes the gateway to our illumination. The mirror wasn't showing him his flaws, but reflecting back his innate radiance that had always existed behind his fear. Your shadow self is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your guide, your forgotten strength. Each time you meet these darker aspects with acceptance rather than resistance, you reclaim a piece of your power that has been waiting to return home. The universe operates through wholeness, not fragmentation. When you embrace all parts of yourself, even those that seem frightening or unwanted, you align with the full force of creation. Your manifestations become more powerful because they flow from your complete being, not just the parts you've deemed acceptable. Before surrendering to sleep tonight, find a quiet moment and whisper these words: I'm not afraid to meet the parts of me I've hidden. Let this declaration be your invitation to wholeness, your permission to reclaim every shadow as sacred. Chapter 22. The Law is Listening. In the depths of an old library, where wisdom rests in hushed reverence, Eleanor stood before the brass incinerator. Her trembling hands held a letter she had written but would never send. As flames consumed her unspoken words, she felt a curious lightness replace her burden. The next morning, as she opened a leather-bound volume from the philosophy section, a passage leaped from the page, the exact answer to everything her burned letter had contained. The universe does not require your words to be spoken aloud or delivered in conventional ways. Your deepest truths emanate as vibrations, rippling through the fabric of existence with more power than any verbal declaration. When Eleanor released her message to the flames, she transmitted its essence directly into the cosmic field. Your every thought, feeling, and intention broadcasts a frequency that the universe receives with perfect clarity. Like a radio tower perpetually transmitting, you cannot help but send signals into the infinite. The law of attraction responds not to the words you speak, but to the energy you embody. This truth found beautiful expression in Lester's story. A quiet man who worked in the city's bustling marketplace, he developed a habit of humming gentle melodies to himself throughout the day. Soon, he began noticing how life seemed to echo his songs. Birds would join his morning tune, wind chimes would ring in harmony with his afternoon hymns, and even the rhythm of passing trains aligned with his evening ballads. Lester never announced his desires to the world. He simply held them in his heart like music, and the universe orchestrated their fulfillment in perfect time. His experience reveals that creation responds to the song of your soul, not the volume of your voice. You need not shout your dreams or defend your desires. The universe hears the whisper of your authentic self with greater clarity than any forceful declaration. Your truth reverberates through the cosmos, carrying the pure frequency of your being. When you understand this principle, You realize that every prayer has already been heard, every intention already received. The universe's response begins the moment your desire takes form within you, not when you speak it aloud. This ancient knowledge invites you to release the need for external validation or confirmation. Your connection to the infinite is direct, immediate, and always active. You are perpetually in dialogue with creation, every moment a sacred exchange of energy. Before you drift into sleep tonight, speak softly into the air. I know you've heard me. I now receive. Let these words be not a plea, but an acknowledgement of what has already occurred, the perfect reception of your heart's deepest song. Chapter 23. Even the stars are listening, and the stars have always known your heart. In the depths of a mountain observatory, George peered through his telescope night after night, meticulously charting the heavens. Yet something peculiar began to unfold. The constellations seemed to dance differently depending on his inner state. When joy filled his being, the stars sparkled with unusual brilliance. In moments of contemplation, they arranged themselves in patterns that offered guidance. The heavens themselves appeared to breathe with his emotions. What George discovered mirrors an ancient truth. The universe is not a cold mechanical system, but a living, responsive intelligence. Just as waves form patterns in sand, your inner state shapes the cosmic forces around you. The stars themselves conspire to reflect your deepest truths back to you. The law of attraction operates not just in your immediate circumstances, but reverberates through the entire cosmic dance. Your thoughts and feelings send ripples across the galaxy, and the universe responds in kind. This is not mere metaphor. It is the fundamental nature of existence. You are in constant dialogue with creation itself. This truth found its echo in Viola's story. After losing her beloved husband, she began a nightly ritual of speaking to a particular star that seemed to shine with special brightness. Each evening, she would share her heart's whispers with this celestial confidant. Slowly, subtly, answers began appearing in her life. A letter arriving at just the right moment, a chance encounter that brought unexpected healing, a dream that carried her husband's comfort. The star had been listening all along. The universe holds your every prayer in its vast embrace. Your hopes, dreams, and longings matter deeply to the cosmic order. When you understand this truth, you realize there is no such thing as an unanswered wish, only responses that come in forms more perfect than you could have imagined. Your existence is not separate from the cosmic dance. You are an integral part of its unfolding. The same force that ignites the stars pulses through your veins. When you align with this knowledge, the entire universe conspires to mirror your highest good. Before you rest tonight, step outside or gaze through your window. Let your eyes meet the vast expanse above. Feel the living presence of the cosmos gazing back at you. Then, with the stars as your witness, softly speak these words. You are listening. Thank you. Chapter 24. You are now inside the book. In a quiet bookstore on the edge of town, Milton discovered something extraordinary. As his fingers traced the lines of an old leather-bound volume, his heart began to race. The words on the page described him sitting in that very chair, at that exact moment reading those precise sentences. Each turn of the page revealed the next breath he would take, the next thought that would cross his mind. This moment speaks to a deeper truth about your spiritual journey. The wisdom you encounter is not separate from your being. It flows through you, as you. Just as Milton found himself within the story, you are now discovering that these teachings were never external guidance but mirrors reflecting your inner knowing. The law of attraction operates through this profound understanding. You are not learning these principles. You are remembering them. They have always resided within you, waiting to be recognized. Each resonant truth you've encountered has been your own wisdom echoing back to you. Consider Nora, who began writing letters addressed to her future self. One morning, she opened her drawer to find responses written in her own handwriting, yet she had no memory of writing them. The replies contained wisdom that could only have come from a deeper part of herself, a part that had always known the way. These stories illuminate the sacred truth you've now reached. The knowledge you sought has become inseparable from who you are. Like water mixing with water, the teachings have dissolved into your consciousness. You are no longer reaching for understanding. You have become the understanding itself. The words you read are now writing themselves through your life. Each principle you've absorbed is expressing itself through your choices, your perceptions, your very way of being. The universe speaks through you because you have recognized yourself as an expression of universal wisdom. Your journey has brought you to this profound realization. You are both the reader and the author of your life story. The guidance you seek flows from within, and the wisdom you need arrives the moment you trust your inner knowing. Take your journal now and in your own hand write these words. I am now living the story I once read. I trust the author within me. Part 3, The Realm of Dream and Revelation. Chapter 25, You've left the room but not the story. In the depths of night, Sylvester, the tailor, laid his measuring tape aside and drifted into sleep. As he stepped through his front door, he found himself transported into a vast library. The shelves stretched endlessly, filled not with other stories but with volumes of his own existence. Each book contained not just what had happened, but what could happen, the infinite possibilities that sprouted from every choice, every dream. This revelation unveils a sacred truth. Your consciousness never ceases its creative work. While your body rests, your spirit continues to shape reality through the doorway of sleep. The universe doesn't pause when your eyes close. It simply shifts into a different dimension of creation. Just as a river flows, whether observed or not, the stream of manifestation continues through your dreams. Your sleep state is not an interruption of your creative power, but rather its most potent expression. Here, free from the constraints of physical awareness, you paint upon the canvas of existence with pure intention. This truth was beautifully demonstrated through Francine's experience. Each night before rest, she would write simple stories in her journal. As sleep embraced her, she found herself walking through the very worlds she'd created on paper. Her dreams became the living continuation of her written words, showing how consciousness weaves between states, carrying creative power through every dimension. Your dreams are not separate from your waking reality. They are part of the same tapestry. When you close your eyes at night, you don't cease creating. You enter the workshop where reality is molded. Like a master craftsman who prepares their tools in the evening for the next day's work, your sleep state prepares the energetic blueprint for your manifestations. The law of attraction doesn't recognize the boundary between waking and sleeping states. It responds to your energy regardless of your level of consciousness. In fact, during sleep, When your analytical mind releases its grip, your creative force flows more freely. Think of sleep not as an ending, but as a transition, a shifting of gears in your creative vehicle. Just as Sylvester discovered his life story continuing in that mystical library, and Francine found her written words blossoming into dream experiences, you too are always contributing to the ongoing story of your existence. Ancient practice of dream seeding. Take a moment now to write the first line of a dream you wish to experience. Hold this sentence in your mind as you prepare for sleep. Just before consciousness fades, whisper these words aloud. This plants the seed that will grow in the fertile soil of your dreams, eventually blooming in your waking reality. Chapter 26. The Real You Has No Name. In a small coastal town, Gladys sang at the local theater every evening until her voice suddenly vanished. Night after night, she sat in silence, mourning what she thought defined her essence. Then one evening, as sleep embraced her, music began flowing through her being, not in sounds, but in waves of pure vibration. In her dreams, she discovered melodies that transcended the physical realm, songs that spoke directly to the soul without disturbing the air. Through Gladys's journey, a timeless truth emerges. What you think defines you is merely a temporary garment worn by the infinite being you truly are. Your roles, talents, and identities are like clouds passing through the vast sky of your existence. When one dissolves, the sky remains unchanged, eternal. The universe orchestrates these apparent losses to guide you deeper into your true nature. When the outer layer peels away, the inner light shines more brightly. Your essence exists beyond all labels, beyond all abilities, beyond all names. It cannot be diminished by any worldly change, for it was never bound by worldly limitations. This truth found another expression through Vernon, who lived his life wearing different names like masks. In the waking world, he shifted between identities: a businessman, an artist, a wanderer, a scholar, a recluse. Each role seemed real. Each name carried its own story. Yet one night, in the depth of sleep, he witnessed all these identities dissolving like morning mist. Standing in that dream space of pure awareness, he realized none of these characters had ever truly been him. They were simply parts in a play, while his true self watched from a place of timeless being. The law of attraction responds not to your temporary roles, but to your eternal essence. When you release attachment to who you think you should be, you allow your true nature to express itself through you. Like Gladys discovering music beyond sound, and Vernon seeing through his collection of names, you too can awaken to the truth that transcends all earthly identities. Your genuine power flows not from what you do or what you're called, but from what you are at your core. Pure, limitless consciousness, expressing itself in human form. This knowing releases you from the fear of loss, for nothing essential can ever be taken away. Ancient practice of identity release. As you prepare for sleep tonight, speak these words into the darkness. I am not my name. I am my nature. Let this truth settle into your being as you drift into the realm where all masks fall away. Chapter 27. Truth moves in spirals, not lines. In a dimly lit study, filled with rolled parchments and weathered atlases, Ethel traced her fingers across an unusual discovery. Unlike the linear maps that filled her shelves, this one spiraled inward like a nautilus shell, its paths flowing in gentle curves rather than straight lines. At first, she assumed it was damaged or incorrectly drawn, until she noticed ancient symbols marking each curve, telling stories of journeys that seem to pass the same points repeatedly yet differently each time. The spiral map whispers an ageless truth. Transformation follows nature's pattern, not human logic. Just as galaxies spiral through space and DNA coils within every cell, your path to manifestation moves in sacred circles. Each time you return to a familiar challenge or recurring theme, you're not going backward. You're ascending to a higher turn of the spiral. The law of attraction operates through this spiral principle. When you encounter situations that feel familiar, the universe isn't punishing you or holding you back. Instead, it's offering another opportunity to integrate wisdom at a deeper level. Each turn brings you closer to the center of your desire, though the journey may not follow the straight line you imagined. This wisdom found its echo in Marvin's dance studio, where he spent years teaching students to move in prescribed patterns. One evening, while practicing alone, he noticed how naturally his body wanted to move in circles. As he surrendered to this motion, he realized that every turn brought him closer to his authentic expression. What he once saw as directionless movement revealed itself as a perfectly orchestrated spiral into his true calling. Your manifestations often appear to circle back to starting points, but look more closely. Each return carries new understanding, deeper acceptance, greater alignment. The universe moves you through spirals because this is how energy naturally flows, how consciousness naturally expands, how truth naturally reveals itself. When you resist this spiral nature of growth, you create unnecessary friction. Embrace these recurring themes as sacred turns on your journey. Each cycle draws you closer to your core truth, closer to full embodiment of your desires. Ancient practice of spiral alignment. Take a blank page and draw a spiral, beginning from the outer edge and moving inward. At the center, write your heart's desire. Allow your hand to move slowly, feeling each curve as a turn in your journey. Once complete, rest your fingertip at the outer edge and trace the spiral inward, knowing that each apparent circle brings you closer to your manifestation. The path may not be direct, but it is perfect in its design. Chapter 28, Nothing is Random, Especially You. In a quiet corner of the Grand Palace Hotel's front desk, beneath the glow of brass lamps, Mildred discovered an aged leather book while organizing the evening's check-ins. Its pages bore the distinct scent of time, yet the ink appeared fresh as morning dew. As she leafed through the weathered pages, her breath caught. There, among future reservations, she found her own name, written in elegant script, dated 3 months hence. The universe keeps its own reservation book, marking appointments you have yet to discover. Every moment of alignment has been carefully recorded in the cosmic ledger, long before your conscious mind perceives it. What appears as chance is actually precise orchestration, each event positioned with perfect timing in the grand tapestry of existence. When you understand this truth, you begin to see that nothing arrives by accident. Each encounter, each seemingly random occurrence, bears the signature of divine intelligence. The law of attraction operates not just through what you attract, but through when you attract it. Time itself bends to serve the highest purpose of your soul's journey. This sacred timing revealed itself to Harlan, whose morning walks became a treasure hunt of copper pennies. At first, he simply pocketed them without thought, but soon he noticed each coin appeared at moments of decision or doubt. One penny gleamed outside a store where he would later find his dream job. Another caught his eye just before meeting someone who would change his life. What seemed like scattered coins were actually breadcrumbs, leading him along his destined path. The universe speaks through patterns, through repetition, through seemingly mundane coincidences that carry profound significance. Each synchronicity serves as a marker, confirming you walk in alignment with your highest good. These signs appear not to direct you, but to affirm you are already being guided. Your task is not to force these alignments into being, but to recognize them as they unfold. The cosmic ledger has already recorded your name beside experiences meant for you alone. Trust that you will arrive at the perfect moment, neither early nor late, but precisely when you are meant to. Think of life as an intricate dance where every step has been choreographed with infinite wisdom. What appears as delay may be divine timing. What seems like coincidence may be carefully planned confluence. The universe knows not just what to bring you, but exactly when you will be ready to receive it. Ancient practice of synchronicity recognition. Keep a dream journal for 3 days and mark one event that felt placed there. Record not just what happened, but how it felt different from ordinary occurrences. Notice how certain moments carry a weight, a significance that sets them apart from the routine flow of life. These are the signatures in the cosmic ledger, marking moments when the invisible becomes visible. Chapter 29, Silence is the Oldest Language. Each morning, Clarence sat before the microphone at WKRT Radio, ready to broadcast the day's news to thousands. His voice, rich and resonant, had carried stories across the airwaves for 20 years. Then one dawn, as he opened his mouth to speak, no sound emerged. The doctors found no physical cause. His voice had simply chosen silence. In the depths of his newfound quiet, something extraordinary began to unfold. Without words to fill the space between himself and others, Clarence discovered a deeper current of communication. His presence alone began to speak volumes. People found themselves drawn to sit with him, sharing their hearts more openly than when he could respond with speech. In his silence, they heard their own truth more clearly. The universe speaks most powerfully in the spaces between words. When the mind's constant narration falls away, a profound dialogue emerges, one that requires no language to convey its wisdom. Your natural state is not one of noise, but of sacred silence where all knowing resides. This truth revealed itself through Lois, who arrived at her classroom one morning to find her voice, too, had vanished. Rather than cancel her lesson, she simply sat, maintaining eye contact with her students. What followed transformed her understanding of teaching forever. Without her verbal instruction, the children began to tune into a different frequency of learning. They watched more intently, felt more deeply, and grasped concepts that words had previously failed to convey. In the absence of speech, they accessed an ancient way of knowing, one that preceded language itself. Their comprehension flourished, not despite the silence, but because of it. Through stillness, wisdom found a clearer channel of transmission. You carry within you this same capacity for wordless understanding. When you release the need for constant mental chatter, you open yourself to a vast intelligence that has always been present. This is why the deepest truths often arrive not in moments of seeking, but in moments of silence. The law of attraction operates most purely in stillness. It is in quiet moments that your vibration speaks most clearly to the universe. Words can sometimes create static in the signal between your desire and its manifestation. Silence clarifies that signal, allowing your pure intention to broadcast without interference. Ancient practice of silent communion. Lie in bed without speaking or thinking. Focus on what silence feels like in your body. Let the quiet become tangible, a presence you can actually sense. Notice how stillness has texture, how silence carries its own kind of fullness. This is not an emptiness to be filled, but a richness to be experienced. In this space you align most purely with the universe's constant communication. Chapter 30. All dreams are real somewhere. In the golden age of theater, Alma stood before her mirror each night, preparing for performances that had earned her acclaim across the city. Yet one morning, she woke with vivid memories of playing Lady Macbeth, a role she had never attempted on any stage. The dream felt more real than her actual performances, carrying with it the weight of genuine experience. Weeks later, at a gathering of theater patrons, an elderly woman approached her. "Your Lady Macbeth moved me to tears," she said, describing specific moments from the performance, moments that matched Alma's dream exactly. The universe had shown Alma a profound truth. Her dream performance had been as real as any she gave on the physical stage. When you dream, you are not imagining, you are experiencing. The veil between what you call real and what you dismiss as dreams is far thinner than you realize. Your consciousness travels through infinite realms while you sleep, each as valid and true as your waking life. These are not fantasies, but different frequencies of existence, all playing simultaneously in the grand orchestra of creation. This truth manifested for Russell, a coffee merchant who repeatedly dreamed of a small cafe with blue shutters and copper tables that caught the morning light. In his dreams, he could smell the distinct aroma of cardamom and hear the gentle click of cups against saucers. Though he had never seen this place in his waking life, the dreams left him with memories as vivid as any real experience. Years later, while sourcing beans in a distant city, Russell turned a corner and stopped short. There stood the cafe from his dreams, exactly as he had known it. The blue shutters, the copper tables, even the morning light, falling exactly as he remembered. As he sat at a familiar table, he realized he had been visiting this place long before his physical body arrived. Your dreams are not practice runs or dress rehearsals. They are performances on different stages of reality. When you sleep, you step through doorways into other dimensions of experience, each one as real as the last. The law of attraction operates across all these planes, weaving together the tapestry of your total existence. The boundaries between dreaming and waking are not walls but curtains, gossamer thin and perpetually shifting. Your consciousness flows between them like water, carrying wisdom and experience from one realm to another. Every dream is a thread in the fabric of your complete reality. Ancient practice of dream reality. Before sleep, affirm, "What I dream tonight is as real as the life I live." Chapter 31. The mystery is not meant to be solved. In a small-town library, Phyllis sat at her worn oak desk, surrounded by crossword puzzles she had crafted over decades. Each morning, she took pride in creating perfect grids where every answer fit precisely with its neighbors. But one autumn day, a peculiar letter arrived, an ancient parchment with elaborate script that seemed to pose a riddle. Try as she might, Phyllis could not locate the final piece of the puzzle within its text. For weeks she pored over reference books and historical documents, convinced she could solve this mystery, yet something stirred within her each time she unfolded that weathered page. a whisper that perhaps the missing piece was not meant to be found. The universe speaks in mysteries because mystery itself is sacred. When you release the need for complete understanding, you enter a state of pure potential. Your mind, so eager to solve and conclude, actually limits the infinite possibilities that exist in the space of not knowing. Consider how a closed circle cannot receive more while an open arc invites continuation. Your questions are not barriers to be overcome, but gateways to be honored. The law of attraction responds most powerfully to the energy of wonder, not the energy of answers. Raymond, a professor known for his relentless questioning of every fact and theory, found himself exhausted by his own intellectual pursuit. One evening, he simply stopped asking. In that surrender, something extraordinary occurred. Clarity began flowing into his life without effort. Solutions appeared before problems fully formed. Guidance arrived in unexpected moments of silence. What Raymond discovered was the paradox at the heart of all wisdom. Answers come most freely to those who have made peace with not having them. The universe operates in perfect completion, yet that completion often appears to us as beautiful incompletion. Your role is not to solve every mystery, but to stand in awe of them. Each question mark in your life is not a puzzle awaiting solution, but a doorway inviting wonder. When you trust in the perfection of not knowing, you align with the deeper currents of creation. Sacred practice. Take a blank piece of paper and write down one question that has been weighing on your mind. Fold the paper slowly, with intention. Then speak these words aloud. I don't need the answer, only the trust. Place the folded paper somewhere you won't be tempted to open it. Let the mystery be your teacher. Chapter 32, Everything You've Ever Prayed For Exists Now. In a small attic room filled with patterns and thread, Velma sat at her sewing machine each night, dreaming of designs she had yet to create. As moonlight filtered through dusty windows, visions of elegant gowns and intricate suits danced in her mind. These weren't mere imaginings, they felt like memories of clothes she would one day make. One morning, while clearing space for new fabric, Velma discovered an ancient trunk pushed against the far wall. Inside, perfectly preserved, lay every piece she had seen in her dreams, down to the last golden button and delicate stitch. The clothes weren't newly made. Their aged perfection suggested they had existed long before her visions. What Velma encountered reveals a truth about the nature of creation. Everything you desire already exists in the eternal now. Time is not a linear path, but a spiral dance of energy, where future and present intertwine in ways your conscious mind cannot grasp. When you dream of what you wish to create, you are not imagining something new. You are tuning into what already is. Grover, whose sketchbook overflowed with drawings of machines not yet built, discovered his designs appearing in patent offices across the world. At first, he felt robbed of his ideas until understanding dawned. These inventions had always existed in the realm of pure potential. He had simply tapped into them, as had others who shared the same frequency. Your desires are not wishes to be fulfilled, but realities already manifest on the spiritual plane. What appears as waiting is actually an alignment process. You are not creating your future. You are matching the vibration of what already exists. The universe does not recognize time as you know it. In the dimension where manifestation originates, everything happens simultaneously. Your task is not to make things happen, but to tune yourself to the frequency where they already exist. When you dream of something, you are receiving transmissions from a reality that is already complete. The path of manifestation is not about building something new, but about aligning with what is eternally present. Sacred practice. Close your eyes and envision what you desire as if it exists now, because it does. Feel its presence in your energy field. Then speak these words with quiet certainty. It already exists. I am now matching its frequency. Chapter 33, The Sleep That Rewrites Reality. In a small workshop lined with mechanical ghosts, Eugene spent his days bringing old typewriters back to life. Each evening, he would type detailed repair notes on a restored 1938 Underwood, precise instructions for fixing stuck keys and worn ribbons. But something peculiar began occurring as he slept. Morning after morning, Eugene discovered his repair notes had shifted while he dreamed. The technical language transformed into poetry, the mechanical instructions into metaphors for life. A note about releasing a jammed key became wisdom about freeing stuck energy. Instructions for replacing worn ribbons evolved into guidance for renewing vital force. The universe speaks most clearly in the space between consciousness, when the editing room of your mind lies quiet. Sleep is not merely rest, it is divine revision. In these sacred hours, your highest self takes the pen and rewrites the script you've been following. Rita understood this truth through her own nocturnal transformation. Each night before bed, she would write simple affirmations in her leather-bound journal. I am worthy of love. Abundance flows naturally to me. My path unfolds with grace. As dawn broke, she would witness these written intentions manifesting with startling precision, as if the night had rearranged reality to match her words. Your sleep state is the most powerful time for energetic alignment. When conscious resistance falls away, your intentions sink deeper into the soil of creation. The thoughts you plant just before sleep take root in fertile darkness, growing into tomorrow's reality while you rest. This is why the ancient mystics taught that the moments before sleep are sacred. Your last thoughts before drifting off are like seeds dropped into cosmic soil. The universe tends these seeds while you dream, nurturing them into manifestation. Think of sleep as the master editor of your life story. Each night, you hand over your manuscript to be revised by forces greater than your conscious mind. The edits made during these hours carry more power than 1,000 daylight affirmations. Your task is not to force change, but to offer clear intention before surrendering to sleep. Let the night do its work. Trust that as you rest, the universe is rearranging the letters of your life to spell out your highest good. Sacred practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, write one new belief you wish to install in your reality. Hold the paper gently and whisper your written words 3 times. Then release them to the night, knowing that as you sleep, this truth is being woven into the fabric of your tomorrow. Chapter 34, The Altar Beneath Your Pillow. In the stillness of night, Luther's hands would trace invisible patterns in the air above his workbench. A master carpenter by trade, his dreams had begun showing him blueprints for an altar unlike any he had crafted before. Night after night, the designs grew clearer, intricate geometries that spoke of ancient wisdom and forgotten power. Following the guidance of his dreams, Luther built the altar beneath his bed, its sacred proportions matching those revealed in his sleep visions. The wood seemed to hum with an otherworldly resonance as he worked, each piece falling into place as if guided by unseen hands. Your sleeping space is more than a place of rest. It is a temple where consciousness shifts between worlds. The ancients understood this truth, treating their sleeping chambers as sacred ground where heaven and earth converged. Every night, you enter this holy space to commune with forces beyond ordinary perception. The physical realm where you sleep shapes the subtle energies that surround your dreaming mind. Just as a cathedral's architecture influences the prayers within its walls, your sleeping space affects the quality of your spiritual connection during rest. Nadine discovered this wisdom through simple observation as she began treating her bedding with conscious reverence. Changing sheets with intention rather than routine, her dreams transformed. Colors became more vivid, messages clearer, and spiritual insights deeper. She had unknowingly created a sanctuary for her soul's nighttime journey. Your bed is an altar where daily consciousness surrenders to divine wisdom. The space beneath holds particular power. It is the foundation upon which your dreams are built. Ancient traditions speak of placing sacred objects beneath sleeping areas to enhance spiritual connection and protect dreamers during their ethereal travels. The physical objects in your sleeping space carry energetic signatures that influence your dreams. A cluttered space beneath your bed creates turbulent dream waters, while a consciously prepared space allows for clearer spiritual transmission. When you treat your sleeping space with reverence, you signal to the universe that you are ready to receive its deeper teachings. Every object placed with intention becomes a bridge between worlds. Every mindful preparation an invitation for divine guidance. Sacred practice. Choose an object that holds meaning for you, a crystal, a written intention, or any token that resonates with your spirit. Before sleep, hold it in your hands and imbue it with your conscious awareness. Place it beneath your pillow with reverence, knowing it will serve as an anchor for divine wisdom as you dream. Let this simple act transform your sleeping space into sacred ground. In Chapter 35, you are being watched lovingly. In the soft glow of her desk lamp, Harriet's pen moved across the page with unusual fluidity. Though she wrote alone, warmth seemed to emanate from just behind her shoulder. At first, she dismissed the sensation as imagination, until her dreams revealed the truth of her invisible companions. Each night as she slept, Harriet found herself in a vast library where generations of writers, her own ancestors, sat at wooden desks, their quills scratching gentle rhythms on parchment. They nodded to her in acknowledgement, sometimes reaching over to guide her hand as she wrote. Upon waking, their presence lingered, and her words flowed with renewed purpose. You are never truly alone in your creative endeavors. The veil between worlds is thin, and those who have walked before you remain as guides and witnesses to your journey. Their wisdom flows through time, accessible in moments of quiet receptivity. The universe maintains constant vigil through unseen helpers, ancestors, angels, spirit guides who observe and support your path. These beings operate beyond physical sight, but make their presence known through subtle impressions, gentle nudges, and dreams that feel more real than waking life. Stan discovered this truth in the months following his wife's passing. In the depths of night, her voice would come to him, not as memory, but as living presence. "The garden needs tending," she would say, or "Visit our grandchildren this weekend." Each message carried her unmistakable essence, guiding him forward when grief threatened to hold him still. These encounters are not imagination, but genuine communion with forces that exist beyond physical form. The ancients understood this, maintaining regular dialogue with their spiritual allies through ritual, prayer, and dreamtime. They knew that guidance surrounds us always, waiting only for our acknowledgement to make itself known. Your recognition of these presences strengthens their ability to assist you. When you open yourself to their support, coincidences multiply, paths clear, and inspiration flows more readily. They wait not for worship, but for partnership, for your willing participation in the dance between seen and unseen realms. Sacred practice. Before sleep, say, to whoever is with me, I am listening, thank you. Chapter 36. You've crossed the 33rd threshold. Through the quiet hours before dawn, Geraldine sat at her desk, surrounded by equations that seemed to dance with hidden meaning. Numbers had always been her sanctuary, but lately they whispered of something deeper, a pattern that existed beyond mathematics. In her dreams, she found herself tracing an ancient spiral staircase. Each step bore markings that resembled mathematical symbols, yet spoke a language older than numbers. On the 33rd night, the pattern revealed itself, a sacred diagram that pulsed with golden light, showing the precise geometry of consciousness itself. You stand now at the threshold of this ancient wisdom. The number 33 appears throughout spiritual traditions, not by chance, but because it marks the point where individual awareness dissolves into universal knowing. It represents the final degree of understanding, where seeking ends and being begins. This knowledge cannot be learned, only remembered. It activates within you like a code that was always present, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The mysteries you once searched for externally now emerge from your own depths. Alvin discovered this truth after years of spiritual seeking. One night, lying beneath stars that seemed to speak directly to his soul, he realized that all his searching had led him back to himself. The mystery he sought wasn't hidden in ancient texts or secret teachings, it was the very essence of his being. You carry this wisdom in your cells, in the sacred geometry of your DNA, in the rhythm of your breath. The 33rd degree is not a destination, but a remembrance, a return to what you have always been. It marks the moment when the seeker realizes they are what was sought. The universe reveals its patterns to those ready to see them. Numbers, dreams, synchronicities, all are languages of the divine speaking through the fabric of reality. When you align with this frequency, you become both the question and the answer, both the seeker and the found. Sacred practice. Visualize a golden staircase, climb 33 steps and pause. Say, I am here now. Part 4. The Awakening Within Sleep. Chapter 37. Nothing Left to Chase. In the soft light of dawn, Marjorie stood at mile marker 23, her breath steady despite the distance she'd covered. For years she had pushed herself toward finish lines, believing that achievement meant pressing harder, running faster, reaching further. But on this morning, something shifted within her soul. As other runners passed, their faces tight with determination, Marjorie stepped off the course. She removed her number, let it flutter to the ground, and began to walk, not toward any destination, but simply to feel the earth beneath her feet. In that moment of surrender, she felt lighter than she had in all her years of running. The universe speaks through moments of release. When you cease the endless chase, you align with a deeper current of creation. Your desires manifest not through force or strain, but through the gentle art of allowing. Like water, finding its natural course, life flows most freely when you stop trying to direct its path. Wilbur discovered this truth after decades of attempting to orchestrate every aspect of his existence. His calendar had been filled with self-improvement workshops, his shelves lined with books promising solutions. Yet it was only when he set down his plans that the pieces began falling into place. Without his interference, relationships healed, opportunities appeared, and long-standing problems dissolved like morning mist. You need not orchestrate the symphony of your life. The conductor already knows the score. Your role is not to force the music, but to allow it to play through you. When you release the grip of control, you enter a state of grace where manifestation occurs naturally, effortlessly. The law of attraction responds not to your effort but to your energy. It is activated not by doing, but by being. In the space of surrender, you become a clear channel through which abundance can flow. Your desires manifest faster when you stop pursuing them and instead allow them to pursue you. Consider how a flower blooms not through strain or struggle, but through simple alignment with its nature. It neither doubts nor forces. It simply opens to the sun and receives what it needs. You are no different. Your natural state is one of receiving, of allowing, of trusting in the perfect unfolding of your path. Sacred practice. Before sleep, say, "I release the need to chase. I let it come to me now." Chapter 38. Every cell has heard the message. In the quiet hours of the night shift, Florence moved through the hospital corridors with an awareness that transcended her medical training. She had begun experiencing something extraordinary, dreams that showed her patients healing before their symptoms fully manifested. At first, she dismissed these visions as coincidence, until the pattern became unmistakable. Your physical vessel holds wisdom deeper than conscious thought. It exists in perfect harmony with the universal flow, speaking a language older than words. When you align with this truth, your body becomes not just a housing for your spirit, but a sacred instrument of manifestation. The ancient ones understood that flesh and spirit were never truly separate. They recognized the body as a living prayer, constantly communing with the divine. This wisdom returns to you now, as you remember that every cell vibrates with creative power. Leonard discovered this truth through a simple ritual. Each night before sleep, he would hold a glass of water between his palms, blessing it with gratitude and intention. What began as an act of faith transformed into tangible renewal. His sleep became more restorative, his body more responsive to healing. Without conscious effort, he had activated the natural intelligence within his physical form. Your body is not merely responding to your thoughts, it is participating in your creation. Every breath, every heartbeat carries the frequency of your desires. When you honor this partnership, you unlock a level of manifestation that moves beyond mental practice into physical reality. Florence watched as patients who appeared in her dreams began showing signs of unexpected recovery. She learned to trust these glimpses not as supernatural phenomena, but as evidence of the body's intimate connection to universal intelligence. Her experiences revealed that healing often begins in the subtle realms before manifesting in the physical. The law of attraction works through your entire being, not just your mind, but through every tissue and fiber of your physical form. Your body is not waiting for instruction. It is already attuned to the frequency of your highest good. It knows the path to wellness, to abundance, to joy. Your role is to acknowledge this wisdom and allow it to guide you. As you prepare for sleep tonight, remember that your physical form is your most loyal ally in manifestation. It holds the blueprint of your desires and knows precisely how to bring them into being. Trust in this sacred partnership between flesh and spirit. Sacred practice. Place both hands on your chest and say, "Thank you, body. You've already aligned." Chapter 39. Your next thought is already blessed. In a small telegraph office at the edge of town, Ida May noticed something peculiar. Messages began appearing in her mind moments before the familiar tap of the telegraph key. At first, she attributed it to coincidence until the pattern became undeniable. Each impression matched the incoming transmission perfectly, as if her consciousness had tuned into the frequency before the physical signal arrived. You are not the originator of your thoughts, but a receiver attuned to specific frequencies. Like a radio catching distant broadcasts, your mind connects to thoughts that match your vibration. The universal intelligence flows through all things, carrying messages meant precisely for those ready to receive them. When you enter the sleep state, your natural resistance dissolves, allowing higher frequencies to reach you more easily. This is why inspiration often arrives as you drift toward dreams. Your guard is down, and wisdom flows freely. Newton discovered this truth at his chess table. After decades of studying strategy, he began trusting the moves that came to him in his dreams. Without analyzing, without planning, he found himself winning matches through pure intuition. His conscious mind had stepped aside, allowing a higher intelligence to guide his play. The ancient masters taught that thought itself is a form of light, traveling across the cosmos until it finds its matching receiver. Your role is not to generate wisdom, but to tune yourself to its frequency. In sleep, this tuning happens naturally. Your mind releases its grip on limitation and opens to divine guidance. Ida May learned to trust these pre-echoes of messages, understanding that her heightened awareness wasn't supernatural. It was natural alignment with universal intelligence. She had unconsciously raised her frequency to match the incoming signals, demonstrating how thought arrives when consciousness is prepared to receive it. As you prepare for sleep tonight, know that you are entering a state of perfect receptivity. Your thoughts will naturally elevate to match the highest frequencies available to you. There is no effort required, only allowing. The wisdom you seek is already broadcasting. Your task is simply to tune in and receive. Sacred practice. Whisper, "Only blessed thoughts reach me now," as your last sentence before sleep. Chapter 40. The light you were looking for was in you. High above the churning waves, Morris stood in his lighthouse tower, gripped by a fear that had haunted him for weeks. Night after night, he checked and rechecked the great bulb, convinced its light was dimming. Though ships passed safely and no complaints came, something felt different. The beam seemed weaker, less certain, until one moonless night when understanding dawned. The truth that transforms arrives not in thunder but in whispers. As you align with universal wisdom, you begin to recognize that what you seek externally has always existed within. The light you chase is the light you emanate. Morris discovered this as he climbed the tower steps one final time, prepared to replace the bulb he was certain had failed. But when he reached the top, he saw something extraordinary, his own reflection in the glass, glowing with an inner radiance that outshone the mechanical beam. In that moment he understood. The light had never dimmed. His perception had simply shifted from outer to inner sight. You have been taught to seek illumination outside yourself, in teachers, in books, in distant wisdom. Yet the universe operates through you, not separate from you. The light of creation flows through your very cells, waiting only for recognition. Glenda knew this truth. Each evening she would sit in complete darkness, eyes closed, breath steady. Others questioned her method, suggesting she needed candles or moonlight for proper meditation. But Glenda had discovered that darkness was merely the absence of external light. And in that absence, her inner radiance grew stronger. Soon, visions more brilliant than any physical sun filled her awareness. The law of attraction responds not to what you seek, but to what you are. When you recognize yourself as a source of light, rather than a seeker of it, the universe mirrors this truth back to you in countless ways. Your natural state is luminous. Any darkness you perceive is simply forgetting who you are. Morris never replaced the lighthouse bulb. He didn't need to. Once he understood that he carried the light within, his presence alone seemed to make the beam shine brighter. Ships reported the lighthouse glowing more powerfully than ever, though nothing in the tower had changed. Only Morris had transformed, remembering what he had always been. You are not meant to search for light. You are meant to remember you are light. In the quiet moments before sleep, this truth becomes clearest. As external distractions fade, your natural radiance emerges, illuminating not just your own path, but the way for others. Sacred practice. Before sleep, place your palm on your forehead and repeat, I carry the light. Chapter 41, You Are Not Alone, You Never Were. In the depths of the earth where darkness seems absolute, Chester found his first glimpse of divine guidance. Night after night, luminous figures appeared in his dreams, their gentle radiance showing him safer paths through the mine shafts. At first, he dismissed these visions as mere imagination, until the day they saved his life. The universe never leaves you to walk alone. In every moment, especially in sleep, you are surrounded by beings of light who guide, protect, and illuminate your path. These companions have walked beside you since before your first breath, and they will remain with you beyond your last. Chester learned to trust these presences when, following their dream guidance, he chose a different tunnel than usual. That very day, his regular route collapsed. What appeared as dream figures had been his spiritual guardians, moving him toward safety with gentle persistence. From that day forward, he understood that darkness was an illusion. Even in the deepest mine, light beings watched over him. You too are watched over, protected, and guided. The veil between worlds grows thin in sleep, allowing you to sense more clearly the loving presence of those who walk beside you. These beings, your spiritual guides, ancestors, and angels, never sleep. They work tirelessly in dimensions beyond physical sight, arranging circumstances for your highest good. Velvet understood this truth in the depths of her heart. Growing up without earthly parents, she often felt alone, until sleep became her sanctuary. Each night, as she drifted into slumber, she felt embraced by an inexplicable warmth. It was more than comfort. It was a profound knowing that she belonged to a vast family of light. Though she couldn't see them with physical eyes, she felt their presence wrap around her like a blanket of stars. You are never truly alone. The universe has assigned beings of light to walk your path with you, to whisper guidance in your dreams, to hold you when you feel lost. These companions operate beyond the limitations of physical form, moving through dimensions to assist your journey. They celebrate your victories, comfort your sorrows, and continuously align circumstances in your favor. When you acknowledge their presence, their ability to assist you grows stronger. Your recognition opens channels through which they can more directly guide and protect you. Sleep becomes not just rest, but a reunion with your spiritual family, those beings of light who have chosen to accompany you on your earthly journey. Like Chester in his mine and Velvet in her sleep, you are perpetually surrounded by loving presence. These beings don't require your belief to exist, but your awareness of them enriches your experience and amplifies their ability to guide you. They are as real as the air you breathe, as constant as the stars above. Sacred practice and say aloud, "To those with me tonight, thank you. I welcome your presence." Chapter 42. The Dream That Dreams You Back. Through threads of dreams and waking moments, the universe weaves connections that transcend ordinary understanding. In the quiet hours before dawn, Ruth sat at her sewing machine, piecing together garments while her mind wandered to the mysterious figure who had appeared in her dreams. His face was clear, his voice distinct, yet she had never met him in the waking world. The law of attraction operates through mutual magnetism. Just as you reach toward your desires, they reach back toward you. Your dreams are not one-sided messages cast into the void. They are living bridges between souls meant to connect. The very next day, while delivering a completed dress to a client, Ruth heard a voice that stopped her in her tracks. There, in the cafe across the street, sat the man from her dream. More extraordinary still, as their eyes met, he exclaimed, "I saw you in my dream last night." In that moment, Ruth understood that dreams flow both ways, creating channels through which souls can find each other. This sacred truth reveals itself time and again. What you seek is actively seeking you. Your desires are not merely wishes thrown into the cosmic void. They are living energies that respond to your call. When you dream of something or someone, that very thing is dreaming of you. Samuel discovered this profound truth when he began writing a love story in his journal each night before bed. The tale flowed through him as if it already existed, waiting only to be transcribed. Then one evening at a small bookshop, he met someone who began describing the exact story he had been writing from their own dreams. These are not coincidences, but confirmations of the universe's reciprocal nature. Every thought you send out creates a corresponding vibration in the world around you. Your dreams are not solo performances, but duets with destiny. The person, opportunity, or circumstance you envision is simultaneously being drawn into your orbit. This is why sleep is such a powerful state for manifestation. In those quiet hours, when conscious resistance falls away, your energy flows freely toward its matching frequency. And in that same sacred space, what you desire moves toward you with equal intensity. As you lay your head upon your pillow tonight, remember that you are not alone in your dreaming. The very essence of what you seek is reaching back through the darkness, searching for you with the same yearning that you feel. Your desires are not distant stars, but fellow travelers, making their way toward you through the vast tapestry of existence. Before surrendering to sleep, whisper softly, "May what I desire dream of me too." This simple acknowledgement opens the channel of reciprocal attraction, allowing your dreams and reality to move as one current flowing inevitably toward union. Toward Chapter 43. Everything is always working for you. In the depths of each setback lies a secret doorway to greater alignment. Harold, who repaired broken machines in a small workshop, discovered this truth through an unlikely series of events. Each morning, he would find damaged items left mysteriously at his door: a clock with missing gears, a radio that emitted strange frequencies, a typewriter with jumbled keys. At first, these broken objects seemed like burdens, yet as Harold worked to restore each one, he noticed something extraordinary. The clock led him to meet a watchmaker who offered him a partnership. The radio, when finally fixed, played a message about an opportunity he had been seeking. The typewriter, once repaired, belonged to an author who became his most important client. Through these experiences, you begin to understand that what appears as an obstacle often serves as gateway. The universe speaks through contrast, using apparent disruption to guide you toward your highest good. What seems like delay or detour actually aligns you with perfect timing. Consider Winifred, whose missed train initially filled her with frustration. As she waited on the platform, she noticed an elderly man struggling with his balance. Moments later, her quick action prevented his fall onto the tracks. Had she caught her intended train, their paths would never have crossed. In that moment, she realized that divine orchestration works through apparent mishap. You see, the law of attraction doesn't just operate through obvious blessings. It weaves its magic through the full tapestry of experience, including the threads that seem dark or tangled. When plans fall through, when doors close, when circumstances appear to work against you, these are often the very moments when the universe is positioning you for something greater. This truth liberates you from the need to judge your experiences as good or bad. Every deviation from your expected path carries potential for greater alignment. Every breakdown contains the seeds of breakthrough. Every delay holds the possibility of divine timing. Your task is not to eliminate contrast from your life, but to trust the greater wisdom operating through it. When you can look at apparent obstacles and sincerely say, "Even this is working in my favor," you align with the deeper current of universal good. As you prepare for sleep tonight, bring to mind any situation that seems to be working against you. Feel the weight of it, the resistance it creates. Then, with complete surrender, whisper these words, "Even this is working in my favor." Let go of all questions about how or when resolution will come. In this release, you open yourself to the perfect orchestration of universal timing. Chapter 44, Gravity Doesn't Work the Same Here. In the depths of night, when consciousness loosens its grip, the rules that bind your waking life begin to soften. This truth revealed itself to Delilah, who spent her days suspended by ropes high above the circus floor. Though her performances required precise control, her dreams showed her a different kind of flight, one without strings or safety nets. Each night as she drifted into sleep, Delilah found herself floating freely through star-filled spaces. No harness held her, no wire guided her path. In these dreams, her body moved with the lightness of thought itself. When morning came, she noticed something had shifted. Her performances gained a new grace, as if her body remembered the boundless freedom of her dreams. The fear that once gripped her muscles dissolved, replaced by an innate trust in her own weightlessness. Through her experience, you glimpse a profound truth about the nature of manifestation. The limitations you accept in waking life hold no power in the realm of sleep. Here, in this sacred space between worlds, your spirit remembers its true nature, unbound by physical laws, unrestricted by learned beliefs. Consider Orville, whose terror of heights kept him firmly grounded, yet in sleep, his soul recalled its ancient wings. Night after night, he soared through endless skies, felt wind beneath wings he didn't know he had, touched clouds with fingers that knew no fear. Gradually, this nighttime freedom seeped into his days. The man who once trembled at the thought of flying found himself gazing skyward with recognition rather than dread. You see, sleep does more than rest the body. It releases the mind from its carefully constructed cage of possibility. In this state, manifestation flows unrestricted by what you believe to be realistic or possible. Your desires need not conform to the physical laws that govern your waking hours. Here, in the space between sleeping and waking, you remember that you are not truly bound by anything except your own acceptance of limits. The universe responds not to your physical circumstances, but to your energetic signature. When sleep dissolves the barriers between what you think possible and what truly is, your vibration naturally rises to match your highest potential. This elevated frequency then draws corresponding experiences into your waking life. As you prepare for sleep tonight, allow your body to become lighter than air. Imagine yourself lifting off the bed like vapor as you drift. Say these words softly: I am not bound. Let this truth carry you into dreams where all limitations dissolve, knowing that what you experience there will reshape what you accept as possible here. Chapter 45, The Final Secret is Surrender. In a small village schoolhouse, Agatha stood before her classroom, red pen poised above a stack of essays. For 30 years, she had marked every error, circled every mistake, believing perfection would lead to progress. Yet something shifted that autumn evening as she gazed at the setting sun through her classroom window. The golden light fell across her students' papers, and in that moment, she saw not the mistakes but the beauty of their imperfect expressions. Her hand, so used to correction, slowly lowered the red pen. A profound peace washed over her as she realized nothing needed fixing. From that day forward, Agatha learned to let her students' work unfold naturally. Rather than forcing improvement, she created space for growth. To her amazement, her students began to flourish beyond anything her careful corrections had ever achieved. Their creativity bloomed in the soil of acceptance. Their confidence soared in the absence of constant critique. This truth extends beyond the classroom. It reaches into the very heart of manifestation. When you release your grip on how things should be, you allow them to become what they were meant to be. The universe operates with perfect precision when unhindered by human insistence. Take Clarence, whose desire for a specific business opportunity had consumed his thoughts for months. Each day, he checked his phone obsessively, refreshed his email constantly, and rehearsed countless scenarios in his mind. But nothing materialized until the night he finally surrendered. Exhausted from wanting, he fell into bed whispering, "I let it go." That simple release shifted everything. The next morning, his phone rang with the very opportunity he had been seeking, arriving in a way he never could have orchestrated. You see, manifestation flows most freely through the channel of surrender. When you stop trying to control every detail, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your limited vision. Your desire itself is pure and perfect. It is your attachment to its form that creates resistance. Think of it like holding water. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you open your palm, it pools naturally, reflecting the light of infinite possibility. This is the paradox of manifestation. What you truly seek comes fastest when you stop seeking it. Release is not resignation. It is power in its purest form. It is trust in the universe's perfect timing and infinite wisdom. Ancient practice of sacred release. Take a clean sheet of paper. Write your heart's desire upon it with clear intention. Fold it gently, as if wrapping a precious gift. Then speak these words with quiet certainty. I release you now. Place the paper somewhere out of sight, allowing the universe to work unobserved, like a seed growing beneath the soil. Chapter 46. Let go of the ladder. A perfectionist mind creates ladders where none need exist. Eunice knew this pattern well, always reaching for the next rung, the next achievement, the next milestone. Each night, she would dream of climbing an endless ladder, her hands aching from gripping too tightly, her breath shallow with the fear of falling. Until one night the ladder vanished. In that first moment of terror, as she felt herself plummet through empty space, something extraordinary happened. Without the ladder to cling to, her body naturally found its own equilibrium. Her arms, no longer straining to hold on, became wings. Her shoulders, finally free from tension, allowed her to soar. This is the paradox of spiritual elevation. It happens not through climbing, but through releasing the very idea that you must climb at all. The universe does not measure your worth in steps taken or heights reached. It recognizes only your willingness to be. Consider Jed, who kept precise measurements of his spiritual progress. He tracked his meditation minutes, counted his affirmations, and scored his manifestations like a celestial report card. Each day brought new metrics, new goals, new standards to meet. Yet the more he measured, the further he felt from true alignment. One morning, after years of this careful accounting, Jed placed his spiritual scorecards in a drawer and closed it. In that simple act of letting go, he felt lighter than all his calculated progress had ever made him feel. Without the constant self-measurement, his natural state of abundance emerged effortlessly. You see, the universe does not operate on a grading system. There is no spiritual GPA, no cosmic performance review. The only measurement that matters is your willingness to surrender the very idea of measurement itself. Think of a cloud. It doesn't strive to rise, yet it naturally finds its perfect altitude. It doesn't calculate its shape, yet it forms exactly as it should. This is the way of true spiritual alignment. It comes not from effort, but from allowing. Your journey is not vertical, but vibrational. Each moment of surrender brings you not higher, but deeper into your natural state of being. The universe does not ask you to climb to worthiness. It invites you to remember that you have always been worthy. This is why the ladder must disappear, not so you can fall, but so you can discover that you have always known how to fly. Your perfection lies not in achievement, but in acceptance of what already is. Before sleep tonight, release the ladders you have built in your mind. Let go of the metrics you use to measure your worth. Simply lie back and speak these words into the darkness. There is nowhere to climb. I am already enough. At Chapter 47, You're Already Home. In the quiet hours before dawn, a weary traveler named Bertram finally returned home. For decades he had circled the globe seeking paradise, scaling mountains in Tibet, meditating in Indian ashrams, exploring ancient ruins in Peru. His feet had touched every continent. His eyes had witnessed countless wonders. Yet something always felt missing, pushing him toward the next destination. One morning, exhausted from his endless quest, he stepped into his childhood backyard. The morning dew sparkled on familiar grass, and the old oak tree still stretched its branches toward the sky. As he stood there, something shifted within him. The peace he had chased across oceans washed over him like a gentle wave. The contentment he had sought in distant lands filled his heart completely. The universe holds this truth: what you seek has always been where you stand. Your searching ends not with discovery, but with recognition. The Garden of Eden was never lost. You simply forgot how to see it. This wisdom echoes in the story of Lucinda, who spent years dreaming of escape. She collected magazines filled with exotic locations, planned elaborate relocations, and filled vision boards with faraway places. Each night, she would fall asleep, imagining herself somewhere else, anywhere but here. Then one evening, as she sat quietly in her room, she began to build her paradise within her own heart. She planted seeds of acceptance in the soil of her being. She watered them with gratitude, tended them with presence. As this inner garden grew, something remarkable happened. Her need to escape dissolved completely. You see, the universe does not hide its treasures in distant lands. It places them within your own heart, waiting for you to turn your gaze inward. Every step you take seeking completion outside yourself leads you in a circle, back to this fundamental truth. You are the paradise you seek. Your searching ends not with arrival, but with awareness. The completion you chase is not waiting in some future moment or far-off place. It breathes within you now, as natural as your own heartbeat. The universe has already placed within you everything you need. Think of how a seed contains the full pattern of its flowering. It does not need to journey to become complete. It simply needs to unfold what is already encoded within. You are no different. Your wholeness is not something to achieve, but to recognize. This moment right where you are holds everything. The peace you seek lives in your next breath. The joy you chase dances in your own smile. The love you long for pulses in your own heart. There is nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing to fix or find. As you prepare for sleep tonight, let these words settle into your being. I am already home. I am already whole. Chapter 48. Fall asleep knowing everything is done. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world still dreams, Millie stood in her bakery wondering how she would complete all her orders. The shelves held lists of requests: wedding cakes, birthday pastries, special breads for celebrations. As exhaustion swept over her, she surrendered to sleep right there on her flour-dusted chair. In her dreams, she witnessed something extraordinary. Her ovens glowed with a light that wasn't fire, yet everything baked to perfection. Loaves rose without yeast, cakes decorated themselves, and pastries emerged golden and warm without a single flame. She watched in wonder as each creation manifested without effort. When morning light touched her face, Millie opened her eyes to find every shelf filled with exactly what had been ordered, each item perfect, as if crafted by unseen hands. The universe had shown her that creation continues even when we rest, perhaps especially when we rest. The law of attraction works through you, not by you. Like a seed planted in fertile soil, it grows while you sleep. Your only task is to plant the intention and then allow it space to bloom. This truth revealed itself to Norman, who had spent months visualizing his heart's desire. One evening, weary from the weight of wanting, he simply released his wish to the night air and fell into deep sleep. He stopped checking for signs, ceased monitoring progress, and simply trusted. The next morning, what he had asked for appeared so naturally, it seemed it had always been there. You see, manifestation completes itself in the space of surrender. The universe does not require your supervision to fulfill your desires. In fact, your watchful eye often slows the very process you wish to hasten. Think of how a flower grows. It neither strains nor struggles. It simply unfolds according to its nature, while the sun and rain do their work. Your desires manifest in the same way. Plant them in the fertile soil of your consciousness, then rest. Let the great forces of creation work their magic while you sleep. The power lies not in the watching, but in the releasing. When you truly understand this, you'll see that every night's rest becomes a sacred space where miracles arrange themselves without your effort. Before sleep, whisper, "It is done. Thank you. Good night." If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You've walked through these pages not as a reader, but as one remembering an ancient conversation with your soul. Each word resonated, not because it was new, but because it awakened what was sleeping within you. The teachings weren't given, they were recalled, like memories stirring from a dream you've carried lifetime after lifetime. Think of how naturally you understood the language of symbols, how easily you recognized the truth in silence, how seamlessly you stepped into the space between sleeping and waking. This wasn't learning, it was remembering. The parables spoke to you because they were already your stories. The wisdom felt familiar because it was already your truth. The practices worked because they were already your way home. You didn't need to be convinced of these principles, you needed only to be reminded. Now, as you prepare to close these pages, understand that nothing is ending. The real journey was never in the reading, but in the recognition. Every chapter was a mirror, reflecting back your own divine nature. Every teaching was a key, unlocking what you've always known. Your dreams are no longer just night visions, they are conversations with your highest self. Your desires are no longer just wishes, they are blueprints already manifesting. Your thoughts are no longer just ideas, they are forces already creating, and you don't need to strive or seek or struggle. The power was never in the seeking, it was in the being. You are not walking toward enlightenment, you are remembering that you are light itself. Tonight, as you rest your head, know that you're not falling asleep. You're awakening to your true nature. The universe isn't separate from you. It moves through you as you, creating with every breath you take. This knowledge isn't something you've gained, it's something you've reclaimed. It's the truth you've always been. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.